Hi, everybody. I'm Michael Sorello, and I'm here to talk to you about America's role in the war against ISIS. Before I start, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a political science and psychology major, and I was driven to this topic due to my interest in the Middle East and its complicated nature, with its constant conflicts, power struggles, revolutions, the whole Sunni versus Shiite ideology. The region leaves room for groups like the Islamic State to really take hold and cause problems, and it kind of falls back on the United States' leadership to come in and resolve these issues. Before getting into America's role in the war against ISIS, we must first discuss the origin story of the Islamic State and how it came to be, as well as the group's key leaders. In 2004, a man by the name of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, he founded AQI, aka Al Qaeda, in Iraq. This is the foundation from which ISIS is going to grow. Zarqawi was later taken out by an airstrike carried out by the United States in June of 2006. So, with no leadership, Ayub al-Masri takes over AQI, and he declares the group now ISI, which is Islamic State of Iraq, and he names Omar al-Baghdadi as the group's leader. Like as you can see, these are the pieces that are falling into place for the formation of what we know to be the Islamic State today. I mean, even though they're nothing compared to what they were like 2014, mid 2015, it's still the same group as declared in 2013. In 2010, Omar al-Baghdadi and al-Masri are both killed in a joint operation involving both United States and Iraqi forces. And this leads Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi to take command of ISI. And what he does is in 2013, he declared the group to be the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. So this is basically the start of Islamic State, is what we know today, and it's still led by Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. When discussing the United States' role in the war against ISIS, we first need to talk about the U.S.-led coalition, consisting of countries from around the world. In the fronting against the Islamic State, the operation was known as Inherent Resolve. Consisted of a lot of special target airstrikes and ground troops from the U.S. Allied countries, like for example France, UK, Germany, Portugal, Kuwait, Iraq, all sorts of countries. I think over 75 countries. August 9th, 24,566 airstrikes were officially conducted at that point in support of Operation Inherent Resolve. Liberated over 62% of formerly ISIS-controlled territory, and this is as of 2017, of last year, I think, of December 2017. Liberated over 62% of formerly ISIS-controlled territory. At least 2,000 U.S. troops in Syria fighting against the Islamic State. These are U.S. troops, yeah. So these are U.S. troops fighting against the Islamic State. U.S. providing arms, advice, air support, training. It's kind of basically what we do in the region. Is we basically provide logistical support, strategical support, rather than just mass ground troops. We also have special forces in the region, and they're effective in diplomatic efforts as well as combating oppositional groups. So they're skilled in diplomatic efforts as well as fighting if they need to. So as you can see, U.S. leadership in the region has really brought down the heat on the so-called caliphate. So basically, to give you a little bit of a perspective on how the U.S. operates in the region, the United States provides weapons, training, air support, and a whole host of other things to countries who are united in the fight against ISIS. While we may be engaged in conflicts in the region, a majority of the Middle Eastern governments oppose the Islamic State, so we provide them tools necessary to fight the fight. This helps minimize American casualties and prevent us from getting into a total war. Our Army Special Forces groups are in Syria, training rebels, while at the same time fighting ISIS. Our superior knowledge and capabilities allow us a lot of influence in the region. The war efforts in the regions of Iraq and Syria were slow before the United States involvement. ISIS was making strong advancements in major cities across Iraq and Syria, as well as other areas of the Middle East, such as like Afghanistan. There's pockets in Turkey, they're all over the place. It's more of like an ideology that kind of targets the region. So groups kind of pop up out of all over the place. I think that they're in the Philippines now as well. Our involvement helped push back the Islamic State front and helped Iraqis reacquire their land. Up until the end of 2015 and 2016, ISIS, or going into 2016, ISIS controlled major cities such as Mosul, Raqqa, Ramadi, Tikrit, Fallujah. In Tikrit, which is a small city in Iraq, the United States supported Iraqi forces along with Shiite militiamen and tribesmen to liberate a city of Tikrit from ISIS. This was kind of like a minor battle in the beginning of kind of like the resurgence, or kind of just us fighting back. In June of 2016, 90% of Fallujah remained intact after swift military action devastated ISIS in the region. This was actually considered like a major success for the Iraqi and U.S. forces. So this Fallujah is actually a pretty big city. So, and to keep it that much intact after an operation of that size, that's pretty remarkable. And then Ramadi, Iraq, December 18th in 2015, the U.S. backs Iraqi troops in retaking Iraq's largest city. So this is definitely a major victory. Definitely a major victory. And this had a lot of U.S. support. So a lot of U.S. leadership and logistical and strategical support, which is what we do. Mosul, Iraq, 500,000 U.S. troops took part in the recapturing of Mosul, serving in a supervisory role to the Kurdish and Iraqi forces. This just further exemplifying the specific nature of the U.S. involvement, which is, like I said, a more strategical role, utilizing our leadership capabilities as well as our military expertise. Raqqa, Syria, which was ISIS's capital for a long time, was declared retaken on October 17th, 2017 by the United States and her allies. On April 13th, 2017, the United States dropped the biggest non-nuclear bomb on an ISIS compound in Afghanistan, killing 94 militants. Which, that doesn't really have anything to do with like territories being taken, but dropping a bomb on an ISIS compound and killing 94 militants, that's a huge success. U.S. involvement has had a major impact on the war against the Islamic State, and the results kind of just speak for themselves. The cost of fighting the Islamic State has not been cheap. We got multiple countries shelling out billions and millions of dollars to help eradicate the jihadist group. Since the start of 2014, the U.S.-led coalition has spent about $22.2 billion in defense against the Islamic State. Obviously, a majority of coming from the United States. I think we spent about $14 billion. But that's as predicted. Like I said, America kind of acts as the world's police. We're kind of America's savior, or the world's savior. And then last year, Syria received roughly $916 million in foreign aid from the United States of America. This is controversial for a number of reasons. This was last year, so not even discussing what is going on in Syria right now, but this is controversial for a number of reasons, like not to get into that at this time. But yeah, basically the United States likes to get involved in world's affairs, but this is only due to our responsibility to the world to help where it is needed. The war against ISIS is just another example of how the United States is the world's problem solver. Thanks, guys.